Welcome back to Afternoon Live. From Carson to Conan, Letterman to SNL, our next guest has a love of late night television, both past and present. His new podcast reveals behind the scenes stories you always wanted to know. We welcome the host of Inside Late Night, Mark Malkoff. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Oh, it's great seeing you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on, virtually at least. Tell me about how much fun you're having with this project. You get to explore late night as a genre, all the great shows.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been fun. I've talked to a lot of people that I've always wanted to get the inside scoop on Saturday Night Live and going on Conan and Letterman. Just people are so addicted to those behind the scenes stories. I mean, Saturday Night Live in February is 50 years. So, I mean, talking to the people that were there, and there is this bond with people that went through that experience that I've talked to, where if you haven't seen anybody in like 10 years, 15 years, and when you do see them again, it's just like it was like being on like a championship of like winning the basketball NBA finals, and there's this thing that everybody's bonded over, and that to me is my favorite thing right now is hearing the SNL war stories.
I mean, the schedule alone, are you just kind of baffled by how these people got it all done week after week, coming back and pulling off these crazy hours?
There is no other show that could do this, show up Monday with nothing and have a show on Saturday. I mean, they pitch on Monday to the host. They don't start writing a lot of times until Tuesday at like 8 o'clock at night. And then they're there until some of them are there till like 8 in the morning, get 3 hours of sleep, read through on Wednesday with 40 sketches, 12 or whatever gets selected, and it's rewriting. And the people there, the writers are putting in, a lot of the cast members write easily 80-hour weeks, if not more. And then they go to an after party until 4 in the morning, which if I was done with the show at 1, I think I'd want to go to sleep, but they're so wired. And then there's an after party after that goes to 7 a.m. and the sun comes out and then they just crash.
Man, I can't even imagine. Good thing some of them are young, I guess. I don't know. I don't think I could ever do it at any point in my life, work that schedule. Well, and let's talk about some of the guests that you've booked. You've got some great folks who have agreed to chat with you. Some you know from your own experience, some for the first time. Has anyone really surprised you with any take or a story that you've never heard before?
You know, I think hearing Rachel Dratch just talk about how long it took her to get on and the multiple auditions and meeting with Lorne Michaels, and I think people just see the finished product, but it really takes a while to really get stuff on, and there's baby steps with everybody that's been over there, and just the journeys of people that I've talked to that have got, took them years to get on Letterman or Johnny Carson, and it was just the pinnacle of their career, but people don't really see that behind the scenes. But talking to Rachel Dratch, just the Debbie Downer thing that she would write with Paula Pell and Tina Fey, it's the stuff that people still talk about that's still culturally relevant 20 years later. Just hearing how everything was put together has been just a blast.
Yeah, so fun to hear her in her own words kind of walk you through that process. Tell me about your experiences working in late night. You worked on a couple of pretty big shows.
I did. I was at Letterman for a year. I could have stayed. It was just a very tough environment, but it was just such a thrill to be there. I loved Dave. I loved the show. I have lifelong friends from that. And then I was at the Colbert Report for 3 years and 8 months. But who's counting? Yes, that is my old boss, Steven, picking me up. He's a very strong man. And that was, just to be there as a late night fan and to see like the behind the scenes stuff and hang out with guests that I've always wanted to meet, and just the pressure of putting a daily show together. There's nothing else like it. I feel like the people that that have worked in television and late night, it feels like any other job is gonna be a little bit easier. It's like there aren't many surprises, just the pressure. It's day to day, and it never stops.
You got to get it done no matter what. Hey, I'm curious about your experience putting the Carson podcast together. So many episodes, again, so many great guests, and you were working on that before a lot of people were really tuning into podcasts. What was that experience like in kind of growing the platform?
I started before. Now it's like every famous person has a podcast, but back then that did not exist. And I always follow my curiosity, and I ended up talking to almost 400 people, and it was like Carol Burnett, Michael J. Fox, Jimmy Buffett's people were like, he's so excited to talk to you because Jimmy Buffett told me no one has ever asked me about this, and it was one of the most important things in my life and my career. So I did not know that I picked the right thing that everyone would want to talk to me about. And it was definitely I think now it's much harder because everybody has a podcast. But back then it was definitely this unique, like a unique land of space. And yeah, it was amazing that thing lasted for 8 years. And yeah, now I'm with latenighter.com, and we're exploring all the different shows. And like we did the Daily Show with Rob Corddry. We have David Cross coming up, Margaret Cho talking about going on Letterman, and just all these just amazing dreams coming true.
That's so cool. I mean, I love all the names that you mentioned and hearing their specific experiences in late night television. You hear a lot of these people who are pretty big stars, and it's really nerve-wracking for them to go on a late night show. The pre-interview, how is it going to go? Somebody like Dave, is he going to ask me back? There's a lot of anxiety behind it.
There are people that I've talked to, and people that have been on the podcast, like Michael Ian Black and Rob Corddry from The Daily Show, that just had awkward experiences. I've talked to people like Bob Odenkirk. I talked to him years ago, told me when he went on Letterman, he still, I mean, it just didn't go well, and they had your one shot, and still they overanalyze what could have happened, how it could have gone better. But people really care about Johnny Carson going on Letterman was the equivalent for the younger generation. But yet you couldn't tell some of these people how nervous they were. Jay Leno always had the bar available for people wanting to have a drink to loosen up, and they didn't discourage people from doing that. But definitely going on those shows. Some people like Adam Sandler can just be having a conversation with you or me backstage, and not have to really, have lots of time and just prepare and be nervous, and he can just waddle on the show and kill. But that's a rarity.
For sure. And hey, you have a long storied history in television yourself. We have to pull up a throwback photo of you here.
Oh my goodness.
Childhood Mark with Bozo?
That was WGN Chicago, and it was an
Wow.
8-year wait for tickets. I was in third grade. Greatest day of my childhood, probably. And yeah, I won. I played a game and I won a couple things. But yeah, that was a big deal.
You caught the bug early.
I did. A soundstage. My friends wanted to go, and I enjoyed going to some sporting events and stuff. But I always wanted to be in a soundstage, like where you are right now, and it was always to get myself in the studio, and driving 3.5 hours from Hershey, Pennsylvania, where I live, to go to see Conan or Letterman, or camp out in the scary streets of New York to see Saturday Night Live, which I didn't tell the truth to my mom at first, but she found out about it, and I got in. So, but yeah, it was always one of the world I wanted to be a part of, and I was so lucky. I was an intern for Michael J. Fox at Spin City, which is how I got him to do my podcast, the Carson Podcast, and just to immerse myself in this world. And people just have been really, really nice to me, and I've been really, really blessed to have good people in my life.
Yeah, well, your passion comes through, and you can tell your guests are very happy to sit down with you. And thank you for spending some time with us today. It was great to chat.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'm really glad we got to do this.
Awesome. Thanks again. Hey, the podcast is Inside Late Night. We'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.